Hello vinyl community, and thank you so much for tuning into Mike's Vinyl Experience today. I appreciate it so very much. If you like what you see, once again, please go ahead and subscribe, and most importantly, make sure you make comments. Today, I have chosen 10 albums out of my Mobile Fidelity Vinyl record collection, which is about 280 to 300 albums as it sits today. It was pretty hard to choose just 10 albums from that collection because I honestly believe there is probably at least 100, if not more, albums in my Mobile Fidelity collection that I think are stellar and are wonderful pressings. I think Mobile Fidelity through the years has done a pretty dang good job with a lot of their albums that they've repossessed. Not all. There's some that they kind of haven't done so well with, but there's a lot that they've really done a super job with. And I have selected 10 of those today that I do want to share with you. Now, about a year ago, maybe it's been a little longer than that, maybe a year and a half ago, we all learned of the fact that Mobile Fidelity was copying master tapes to DSD 256, 64, and so forth. Anyway, a digital process had been entered into what all of us thought was a pure analog process of producing their albums. That was an upset. That was kind of a difficult pill to swallow, if you will. Having said that, I still purchase Mobile Fidelity albums, not the way I used to, however. At the time this news became out to us all, I believe it was Mike at the In-Group down in Arizona that initially broke the news to us all about the DSD and the digital step that they were implementing in their process. I stopped buying all of the one steps that they were doing. Up until that point, I had purchased every one of them. And I still have bought some of the one steps that they've been doing. For example, the recent Eagles Hotel California, I did purchase that, and I think it is wonderful. And there are many others that I have purchased. The Cannonball Alderley album that was just released, I do plan on purchasing that as well. But with that information, it did change the way I purchase Mobile Fidelity albums. Not in the sense that I won't purchase them, but I just a little bit more caution. I really need to love the album and the music before I'm going to purchase it at this point in time, which, like I have said, I still do. Anyway, with that information in mind, let's go ahead and let me show you what 10 albums I have selected today. The first album that I have selected from my Mobile Fidelity collection today is Linda Ronstadt, Hasten Down the Wind. This was released by Mobile Fidelity in 2009. It was originally released in 1976. This is a great album, has some really good songs on it. Of course, the title track, Hasten Down the Wind. That'll Be the Day was a pretty popular song back in the day when this was released. Linda Ronstadt, I've got all of Mobile Fidelity's releases that they did of Linda Ronstadt, of her albums. And this is one of my favorite. This is a wonderful, wonderful sounding album. Great stuff to listen to. Next on my list is Earl Klugh Finger Paintings. Now this one goes back quite a while. This one was released by Mobile Fidelity in 1980. The original was done in 1977. This album, this jazz album, is just an excellent album to kick back and relax and listen to wonderful sounding music. Earl Klugh's got a lot of folks on here. Dave Grusin, Lee Rittenauer, Harvey Mason, I believe, was on drums. What a great album, an old album by Mobile Fidelity. The sound quality on this is wonderful. One of my absolute favorites to listen to. Next on the list is Boston, the original Boston album, the first album that they came out with. This was released in 1996, part of their Anadis 200 a series of vinyl that they did. It was originally released in 1976, their first album they did. Now this album, every song on it is a hit. Every one of them saw playing time on the radio. This is absolutely a stellar sounding album of Boston. This isn't really easy to get anymore, and if you can find it, it costs a lot. Back in the day, some of these albums I purchased a couple of. One to display and one to listen to. And this is one of them. This one I believe is a sealed version, very low number, 649. I don't know how many they made. But Boston, their original album, wow, what a great album. And this sounds great. Mobile Fidelity did a fantastic job of repressing this and putting this out. This added to the great sounding album that it already was. What a wonderful sounding album. Next on the list is Bill Withers' Greatest Hits, Just the Two of Us. This was released by Mobile Fidelity in 2016, and I believe it is still in print. I think you can purchase it from Mobile Fidelity, Music Direct, Acoustic Sounds, Elusive Disc, or any of the other ones. The In Groove down in Arizona has this. This has a lot of wonderful hits of Bill Withers on it. Just the Two of Us, Soul Shadows, Lean on Me, Ain't No Sunshine. This is a fantastic sounding album that Mobile Fidelity did. A repress of this album. It sounds great. Highly recommend it. One of my favorite Mobile Fidelity re-releases. Next is a little bit older album. This is Supertramp, Crime of the Century. This was released by Mobile Fidelity in 1978. The original release came out in 1974. Now, I chose this album over Breakfast in America simply because every song on this album is classic to me. The music is wonderful. I mean, every song was such a popular selection for me. I would listen to this album all the way through, side A, side B, just because the music is so wonderful. This is my favorite Supertramp album, even though Breakfast in America is wonderful, and I have it on the wall right behind me, along with a more recent Mobile Fidelity pressing of Breakfast in America. But this is my favorite Supertramp album that Mobile Fidelity has repressed. And it sounds great. The sound on this is absolutely stunning. I don't know that there's a better version of this album out there. If there is, I've not heard it. But Supertramp, Crime of the Century, wow, what a great sounding release by Mobile Fidelity. Next is Santana, self-titled Santana. Now this album is the 45 RPM version, and it was released in 2017. This does have that DSD 256 step in it. It still sounds excellent. I do have the 2007 33 RPM reissue that Mobile Fidelity did, and I believe this does sound better than that one. The album was originally released in 1969, so this is a darn old album, but Evil Ways is probably the most popular cut on the album, and the entire album is really, really, really good, not to mention the fact that it sounds good. If you're a Santana fan, I'm sure you've obviously heard this. What a wonderful album this is, Santana. Next on the list is Rush, Permanent Waves. No collection can be complete without a Rush album in it, right? Progressive rock. I can't even tell you how many times I have seen Rush in concert. The passing of Neil Peart was a sad, sad deal. But anyway, this Permanent Waves is a great album. This was released by Mobile Fidelity in 2007 as part of their Gain 2 series. The original album was released in 1980. Contains the hits Free Will, Spirit of Radio. The entire album is just wonderful, not to mention that it sounds incredible over the original, in my opinion. Rush, Permanent Waves, what a great album this is. So the next three that I have in my Mobile Fidelity collection of 10 that I've selected today are all one steps. The first one is Bill Evans Trio, Sunday at the Village, Vanguard. Now this was a live recording that was done, I believe, in 1961. And I can't believe an album that was done in 1961 sounds this incredible. Now, this one step is one of them that does not have the digital implementation. There's no DSD file in this one. This was cut directly from the analog tapes to their analog lathe process that they use for one steps. And it shows, it sounds phenomenal. This I believe this was limited to 3,000 copies, if that's correct. It's a great sounding album. Back in the day, as I indicated before, I bought 2 of these, one to listen to and one to display, even though I haven't really displayed them much. But this is a wonderful sounding album, incredible album. A little hard to get now because they are, of course, out of print. Only 3,000 were made, and their price is kind of expensive. Now, Craft Recordings has just announced, and I think it'll be coming out any day, they're releasing this as part of their Jazz Classics series. And I believe the mastering was done by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. I plan on snagging that album and doing a little comparison of the two. I don't know how that will stack up against this, but it will be fun to see. Bill Evans Trio, Sunday at the Village Vanguard, an absolute classic that Mobile Fidelity had done on this. This is absolutely a wonderful sounding album. Next is another one step, Donald Fagen, The Nightfly. Now, this album, I know it has to have a digital step in there somewhere, even though it doesn't say on their website, but I believe this was done in 1982, the album, not the one step, but the album was done originally in 1982, and it was done, I think, digitally to begin with. This was released by Mobile Fidelity in 2017, and it was limited to 6,000 copies. A little bit easier to obtain one of these. Still, I think it's a couple, $300, but this is a wonderful sounding album. Donald Fagen's The Nightfly, an incredible sounding album. Kind of hard to imagine that there's a digital step in this. Well, it was recorded digitally because it sounds so amazing. So I guess digitally can be fine if it's done correctly. This is a wonderful sounding album. Excellent sound. So the last one of my collection of Mobile Fidelity albums that I've selected today is the very first one step that was done by Mobile Fidelity, Santana Abraxas. This album, I have an original pressing of Abraxas. I've got 2 or 3 other pressings of Abraxas. Nothing comes close to this. This is far and away the best sounding version of Santana Abraxas that I have heard. If there's one out there that's close to it or better, I've not heard it. There could be, I just don't know. This is phenomenal. This one was limited to 2,500. And so I was fortunate enough when it was released in 2016, I picked up a couple copies of it. One that I listened to and one that I display. But this one here is a very low number. It's 221 of Abraxas. This is a phenomenal sounding album. I know this is a little bit difficult to obtain nowadays. In fact, I've seen it upwards to $2,000-$3,000 on Discogs and eBay and other places, I'm sure. But this is one of Mobile Fidelity's, in my opinion, one of Mobile Fidelity's finest pieces of work that they did. This is a phenomenal sounding album. This does have a 256 digital step in it. Doesn't seem to matter, at least it doesn't matter to me. Not a better sounding album, in my opinion, or excuse me, a better sounding release of this album than this one here. Santana Abraxas. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I appreciate it. Please leave your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of Mobile Fidelity and some of the releases that you have that you think are absolutely wonderful. Like I said, I've got 280, maybe 300 LPs, vinyl LPs in my Mobile Fidelity collection. Probably another 200 to 250 with CD and SACDs as well. But let me know what you think. Tell me some of the Mobile Fidelity releases that you have that you really like and you think are amazing. I'd love to hear from you. Maybe we can do a video and do this again on some other pressings. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for tuning in today once again. Appreciate you very much. Oh, just really quick, upcoming video is indicated. Bill Evans Trio, Sunday at the Village Vanguard. I'll be doing a comparison video as soon as I'm able to obtain the craft recording that is just being released. Also, I do have the Foreigner Atlantic 75 on the way to me from Acoustic Sounds. I do have an original Foreigner. It's right behind me here on the wall. You probably can't see it because I'm in the way. But I do have the Mobile Fidelity version of that album as well. And I think we'll be doing a little comparison on that in the next few days once that arrives. But thank you so much for tuning in today. Have a great day. Thank you.